Welcome back to tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather sort of for next week really today, although we will have a look at some of the wet and stormy conditions that are on the way for this week as well. It looks as though drier conditions could be starting to emerge, but it's going to be a slow old process to get this trough to lift out. I think eventually we're going to start to lose some of the low pressure influences, but a really slow old process. I'll show you the charts in a moment and you'll see what's going on. High pressure is going to try to come in, but we're going to keep low pressure influences really around for the next 10 days, just that things are going to gradually lose their intensity, but no sudden change really is the message to properly dry conditions. It's not going to be a switch from one type of weather to another. It's going to be a slow, gradual process to lift out the trough of low pressure and to build in the high pressure. And of course, high pressure is what gives us the drier conditions. Before I get on with videos, I'll talk about the advertising. There's video ads on my page. It's at GavsWeatherVids.com. Hit play on the video ad. You'll be supporting GavsWeatherVids.com. Thanks very much for doing that. There was a problem with the other ads, the banner ads, over the weekend, so I've changed them. We're using some different ads for the banner ads from now on. You can click through those banner ads and go to the advertised website if you are interested in what they're showing. And when you click through the ads, you help to support GavsWeatherVids.com as well. So there's two ways of getting involved: playing the video ad and clicking through the banner ads. Get involved, support GavsWeatherVids.com, and thanks so much for doing that. So starting off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts, we've got the ECMWF here on the left, the GFS is over on the right. These are the 8 to 10 day means, so this will be taking us to around the 20th of February, so well on into February, towards the end of the month really. Well, not quite the end of the month, but certainly going towards the final week of the month. Anyway, short month of course, February. So the orange colours are telling us where we've got above average heights, above average pressure at 80,000 feet, which extrapolates to high pressure. The blue colours extrapolating to low pressure. Now, this is British Isles just here, and it's quite interesting what the ECMWF is doing, because you remember that we've been looking at these charts a lot through the winter, and generally we've had these very nasty and intense vibrant blue areas sitting around the British Isles, just west British Isles through the Atlantic, but big troughs of low pressure, huge troughs churning away, throwing up very deep and extensive storms across the country. Well, the ECMWF today, in terms of 500 millibar flow chart, has a much less intense trough of low pressure sitting to the north of the country and moving to the northeast as well. So you can see there has been a lessening, or there is a lessening of the trough. Still troughy influences, but it's not as deep, it's not as intense, it's not as vibrant in terms of the colours as we've been seeing through most of this winter. So signs there that the trough is easing off, beginning to lift out. I've also got these orange colours setting up to the south. That's high pressure starting to push northwards from the Azores, beginning to move in. Now the jet stream is also weakening off. The lines here, I'll get rid of these colours. Here we go. The lines here is where the jet stream is. The tighter the lines, the stronger the jet stream, really. So we've got a very strong jet stream still coming out of Canada, but as it comes across the Atlantic, definite signs that the jet stream is just beginning to weaken a little bit, just easing off. Still quite a strong jet stream in 8 to 10 days time, but certainly not as strong as it has been through the winter. So the ECMWF, definite signs there that the trough is easing and we're beginning to get some ridging. Now the GFS is similar. It does have a deeper trough around the country. There's more blue showing up, but again it's not as intense, it's not as extensive as what we've been seeing through most of this winter. And again, we've got this area of high pressure from the Azores starting to build northwards through into the Atlantic, and consequently the jet stream coming through the Atlantic is not as intense or strong as it has been through much of this winter. Now, the blue colours, the below average heights, below pressure is still there, so it's not setting down. I have to emphasise this, it's not a sudden change to high pressure dominating with universally dry weather. It won't be like that. We'll just see the bands of rain, I think, that come in gradually getting less and less, gradually easing off in terms of the intensity, and probably the frequency of the bands of rain coming in as well may start to ease down a little bit. The GFS temperature and precipitation ensemble show this quite nicely. Temperature ensembles first, we'll remember red line where we should be at this time of year, and we're going to be around the red line for for the foreseeable future. Really not a lot to look at there, although as we get towards the final week of the month, this is the 21st of February just here, we've got a lot of scatter here, with many members of the ensemble going very mild, possibly a taste of spring, but there are some much colder ensemble members in there as well, and that's indicative of where that high pressure as it starts to build in is going to be sitting, because if it sits in a position to give us cold air, it'll turn cold. Obviously, if it sits in a position to the south or the southwest of the country, it'll drag up milder air. But the rainfall spikes are what's really interesting, because we've got some very big rainfall spikes there for this coming week. Going to be another very wet week, stormy at times as well. As we get through from around the 17th, 18th onwards, we do see the spikes easing in terms of the size of them, although we do still have precipitation spikes coming through. So it's this idea that the intensity of the rainfall and the frequency of the rainfall may start to ease down, but we'll still keep low pressure influences quite dominant, so probably just setting up more of a standard sort of UK type unsettled pattern, as opposed to the very abnormal, very extreme weather pattern that we've been in through this winter. It has been a very extreme winter. I don't think people quite realise how unusual, how extreme the weather pattern has been this winter in terms of these areas of low pressure that have just been blowing in on so much regularity since the middle of December. These deep storm systems have been a very extreme winter pattern actually. So have a look at the chart, see how this plays out in terms of the general charts. This is the chart for Friday. Another very deep area of low pressure around the Azores. That's going to try to move northwards as we go through into Saturday. There it comes. And difficult to say how deep that's going to get. The latest GFS 6 o'clock run doesn't have it that intense, and as it pushes northwards into cold air, it could bring some snow actually to the northern parts of England. But other models are really intensifying that low pressure into a major storm system sometime around Friday or Saturday, so that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Eventually, whatever happens, that low pressure clears off into the North Sea as we get through into Sunday, and we set up a westerly flow. And then another area of low pressure comes through on Monday. So again, no settling down in the reliable time frame. Definitely, we're going to keep low pressure coming through at least for the next week, giving lots of heavy rain. And again, this one could give snow on the northern side, perhaps across northern England. And another area of low pressure there on the 18th. As we get through to the 19th and on into 20th, that's when the high pressure tries to build in from the south. So it's sort of day 9, day 10, high pressure starts to try to build in, but low pressure is still there to the north of the country, and what we end up with by the time we get through to Friday the 21st of February, sort of a north-south split with a ridge of high pressure close to the south, low pressure up to the north, but close enough to still be keeping it pretty unsettled away from the far south and southeast. And even this ridge of high pressure could give way at any time, I think, to allow low pressure back in. So it's just sort of the idea about we're losing the abnormal pattern. It won't be as extremely wet perhaps by day 10, but still relatively unsettled. Here's the E7WF. This is what this model does with the low pressure as it goes into the weekend, Friday into Saturday. Now it pushes it northwards. Will be a lot of heavy rain associated with that. Could be some snow on the northern edge. Again, it doesn't deal it into a major storm system, so perhaps not going to worry too much about severe gales, famous last words of the weekend, but certainly will be rain pushing northwards. The low pressure clears away on Sunday, and then we're in a flat sort of westerly flow. The low pressure comes in off the Atlantic again on Monday the 17th, so at least another week's worth of heavy rain at times. That low pressure clears eastwards Tuesday the 18th, trying to build some sort of ridge of high pressure in. Again, it's this idea as we get through to day 9, day 10, we've got the high pressure building to the south. The low pressure is still influencing to the north, but not as intensely as it has been doing. Nevertheless, still unsettled with rain, particularly in the north and west, drier in the south and the southeast. And it's sort of a slow progression from the very abnormal weather pattern into something a little bit more typical. Now I've got a band of rain and snow coming in tonight. This is the high resolution Euro 4 model from the website Weather Online, and that's showing that at midnight we're going to have a rain across Ireland. As we go through to 6 o'clock in the morning, that rain is going to push eastwards, so it's going to be a wet morning for many parts of the country on Tuesday morning, and from northern England northwards there is the risk of snow over the Pennines, quite significant snow across parts of Scotland, heavy rain across England and Wales. That clears out of the way to leave us in a run of sunshine and wintry showers for the second half of Tuesday into Wednesday. Notice again some quite heavy snow showers for parts of western Scotland. And then as we go through Wednesday into Thursday, we've got to look at another very deep storm system coming in. So here we are at midday on Wednesday, a very intense area of low pressure across Ireland. Hard to see the central pressure of that, but I think it's around 960 millibars, something like that. Once again, I have to really emphasise how unusual it is to keep getting these very intense storms. You normally get one or two of these, maybe 3 or 4 every winter, but we've had so many of them, and there's another one. Real storm coming in on Wednesday. That will sweep across the country again. The worst of winds for England and Wales. That's where the risk of coastal flooding will no doubt be. As we go through to midnight on Thursday, the low pressure is exiting away into the North Sea. Will be causing disruptive wind and rain, I'm quite certain about that, with more flooding issues across England and Wales in particular, either from coastal flooding or from the winds. Wind gusts could be up to 70 miles an hour with this across southern and southwestern parts. There's the extent of the rain midday Wednesday, very wet conditions setting in. All areas very wet by the end of Wednesday, some torrential rain mixed in, particularly in the south, just where they don't need it. And on it goes, doesn't it, with, there's another storm for Wednesday. So I think we're looking at a gradual progression to something less disruptively wet and windy as we go through towards, say, around the 20th of February. It will slowly start to dry out, but it's going to be a slow process. There's no immediate let-up. This week, very unsettled, very wet and stormy at times. Next week, we'll slowly, I think, progress to something less dramatically wet and windy. But no real switch to completely dry conditions, probably for quite some time to come. That's it for now. It's been a hard video to explain because we are seeing a change, but it's such a slow process, and that's what I'm trying to get across, so that's why I've gone on a bit longer than usual. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye for now.